Rube, technically, this is 3 days in a row recording a podcast.
That's true. It could be a precedent. The people want a podcast every day. We might have to think about doing that.
We are a Tuesday, Thursday after the game pod. That's the way we're going to keep it. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast, brought to you by Nissan. Reuben, Frank, and Dave Zangaro here with you. Reuben, how you feeling about this week?
It's a fascinating game, and I'm really curious to see how they respond. I mean, they should win by 20 points. They should hold this team to like single digits, and they should be able to score in the high 20s. But I can't help think about that Arizona game in 23 when it's the circumstances are so similar, like losing streak, and then you're looking at the schedule and you're like, well, at least the Cards, and I think the Cards were 3-12 when they came in because it was a 17-game schedule in 23. So, and they were terrible, and this team's terrible. This team might be worse than that Cards team. I think the difference for me is that in 23, both sides of the ball were falling apart. And now you just have some confidence in the defense that they can at least give the team a chance to win. So I feel like as long as the offense can score like in the mid-teens, they can win this game. I think they will. So I think they're going to win it. But man, you have a 2-win team come into your own building. You want to feel a little more confident, but that's where we are. That's where we are after these last few games. And, that it's going to be tense atmosphere until they build a big lead. Well, they had a big lead in that Arizona game. They were up 17-3 and they blew that. That's the only time in franchise history they've lost a game over a team with a winning percentage of 250 or lower that they led by 2 touchdowns at halftime. And I'm the idiot that looked that up. So I feel like they're going to win. I have my doubts that it's going to be just this commanding, incredible victory that gives everybody confidence for the stretch run or the rest of the stretch run. But I do think they'll figure some things out and get this thing as a dub. But I can't say I'm 100% convinced.
All right. If you enjoyed the podcast, please rate, view, subscribe wherever you get your pods.
What do you think? You asked me a question, so I gave a detailed answer.
You did. I did want to mention we have matchups coming up a little bit later. We want to answer questions from you guys. Yeah, look, it's a week where there's a lot of tension built up because of what we've seen unfold. And, we can make all the comparisons in the world of 2023, but they're going to fight back against that, and they should. I mean, no one wants that outcome. I don't think it's that team, but with every week we go through this, it does feel more and more like it. I do agree with you. I think the defense is the best of those 4 units from those 2 teams, if that makes sense. Like it's a really good defense, and I have faith in them. I think the offense, despite the final score on Monday, and this is not what you want. You don't want to have moral victories. You don't want to be following little threads of success. You want it to actually look like a real offense. That said, I thought there were some good things on Monday night that are more tangible than the 52-yard run from a tush-push look. I thought there were some things they did really well. Now it's like, I don't know if I have a ton of faith that they'll be able to package it all together and make it flow like an offense should flow, but there are some threads to start pulling.
Yeah, I mean, there were times they moved the ball really well. They had a lot of extended drives, and Jalen, for all his turnovers, did make some really big time throws in that game. They did run the ball even beyond the 52-yard touchdown. Saquon ran the ball well. So, but yeah, that's the thing is like, does that mean they're going to do it again? I don't know.
No, but I think it's important for them. And look, I think it's even important for fans to, you don't want to check out on this season. They're right now they're in the playoffs, we'll see if they're there by the end of the year, but no one wants to check out. And you can be, we hear all the time, fans will go, I'm done with this team. And you're not. You're going to follow the team because you're a fan of the team, and you're going to be frustrated by it when they suck, and you're going to be excited about it when they play well. But I think everyone who follows this team is trying to figure out, can they fix this? And with each week, it becomes less likely, but not impossible.
I had a guy tell me, a friend of mine who's a bartender at a place I have lunch at occasionally, and he was like, I didn't even watch the game Monday night. I knew they were going to lose. I didn't even watch it. I was like, you watched it? He's like, well, I had it on in the background.
Of course you watched it.
I'm like, you watched it? He's like, yeah, I watched
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I always wondered, like all the people that said during the 23 collapse, I'm done with this team. I'm never watching it. A year later, they're in the Super Bowl. I think you watched that, so, but I
And
get,
look, I get it. It's like a little bit of poetic license to
sure.
tell how frustrated you are with the team. But yeah, I think it's natural to be really upset by what you've seen. I don't think it's crazy that people are booing.
No.
It's like very deserved booing. Now, if you don't like booing and you think they should do a Trey Turner and cheer, like whatever, I don't really care about that. But I think the product they've put out is boo worthy for sure.
Is that like James Worthy's brother, Boo Worthy?
Could be. Yeah, like it's been bad, and I'd probably boo if I were a fan and I show up to a game and the offense scored one touchdown.
You think anybody ever boos our podcast, sitting at home watching, listening?
Maybe not out loud, like internal boos.
Internal boos.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if anyone's ever just literally out loud booed us, just sitting in their living room watching the pod.
I would think the odds tell you yes.
Yeah.
Right?
I like to think we've been booed.
One of my favorite bits from The Simpsons is Mr. Burns is at the baseball game and they're booing him, and everyone, I think Smithers goes, they're saying boo Earns, not boo.
It's good.
That's what I always think about. Yeah, look, I'm curious to see what this team looks like. I'm curious to see how they respond. I'm curious to see how Jalen Hurts plays.
Yeah.
On Monday, we had a chance to talk to him on Wednesday, and I think the one thing that really, he's mentioned it a few times, a little bit unprompted as well, that the thing that really bothered him about that game was that despite all the struggles, he had the ball in his hands with a chance to win it and they couldn't get it done. The one thing we know about Jalen Hurts, it's like, not only has he shown the clutch gene at times in his career, but he likes the idea of him being, we know his idol is Michael Jordan, right? Like that is something that resonates with him. He wants to be able to have those clutch moments. He wants to show that there's something special about him when the game is on the line that he can deliver. And I think that more than anything is sticking with him from that game, is the way that he could not get it done when it mattered most.
Yeah. And I think you have a lot of faith in him in those situations because he's done it so many times. I thought they were going to win the game in overtime. I thought he was going to put up 7. It didn't happen. But the one thing I never worry about is his confidence. I don't think his confidence will be shaken. I mean, the guy just won a Super Bowl 10 months ago. So I don't worry about that part of it. I worry about the way he's seeing the field. I worry about how long he's holding the ball. Those are the things I worry about. But he's going to go out there firing. We know that. And
do we?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think throwing 4 interceptions is going to make him conservative all of a sudden. I mean, it didn't at the end of the game.
Yeah, but that was kind of, you mean like yeah, I get that. I think the one thing, and it's always the balance of aggressiveness versus giving the ball away. You don't want to see them turn the ball over, but we have seen them plenty of times kind of turtle and put ball security just so far ahead of everything else, which, look, obviously after a game like that, it's hard to talk them away from that because 5 turnovers is crazy and you're not going to win many games turning the ball over 5 times. But I'm curious to see what the offense looks like in the wake of that. Like, do they go super duper conservative and just not risk turnovers and say, this is what we are right now. We've got to not turn the ball over on offense, score our measly points, and hope the defense plays lights out. It might be the best recipe for this team, which might not be the best recipe for a Super Bowl contender, but for right now, where they are, it might be.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what their offense has been, is like, let's not turn it over, let the defense do its thing, and hopefully we score enough points to be in the game at the end. It's not an ideal way of winning a lot of games. I think it was a few weeks ago. I actually said, I was kind of half joking, but I said I wish Jalen would throw an interception or two because I felt like he wasn't being aggressive enough, and he was being risk adverse. And then I didn't want him to throw four, but
We got some comments about that. You wanted him to throw a pick. Well, that's not what we said.
yeah, the Bobby Hoying stat that's just mind blowing. I mean, that was 28 years ago, the last Eagles quarterback with 5 turnovers in a game. And if you're familiar with Bobby Hoying's career at all, it's not a guy you want to be compared to if you're Jalen Hurts.
And it's not just one game. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If it was a one-game aberration, you go, okay, like everyone has a bad game. Patrick Mahomes just had a bad game. No one's ready to bench him, right? But
who's our backup?
I don't know. Who is it this year?
I don't know. It's not Carson anymore. I should know this.
Oh, it's Gardner.
Oh, is it Gardner?
Yeah, I saw him in the tunnel after the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of former Eagles quarterbacks all over the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I saw Gardner walking through the tunnel, and yeah. Oh, so the last 3 games, I lost my train of thought.
Did you see? Speaking of quarterbacks, somebody asked Shane Steichen at his presser if he's ever coached a quarterback older than him. Did you see this?
Have you ever coached a player older than him? And he said, "I coached Philip Rivers."
I coached Philip Rivers. He said the way age works is if you're older, you're in 10 years you're still going to be older.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny.
It was a pretty funny answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. How about that, by the way?
Yeah.
We're going tangent on tangent here, but
Yeah.
44 years old, I don't know how that's going to end.
Yeah.
I have a suspicion how that's going to end, and it's not great.
Yeah. How old was Josh McCown when he was here?
When the hamstring fell off the bone?
Yeah.
He's in his 40s, right?
Yeah, I think he was.
I don't think he was quite 44.
Yeah. What a day that was. That's pretty much the end for Carson.
Who was in Kansas City before Gardner Minshew, which brings us back to Patrick Mahomes and his 3 interceptions, which brings us back.
And Josh McCown was Carson's quarterback's coach this year. Anyway.
Brings us back
Yes.
to Jalen Hurts.
This is Dave trying to get it back on the rails.
And his 4 interceptions on Monday night.
Yeah.
We got out of it. So it's the last 3 games, though. He hasn't played well. And
no, he hasn't. Really, 4 games.
4 games, yeah. However you want to slice and dice it. In these 3 losses, though, where it's hurt them, he hasn't played well. And I'm fascinated to see what it looks like. And look, we're not going to come on here and talk about the merits of benching him because they're not going to do it. I think it's silly to talk about. And in the office yesterday, we're talking about like hypotheticals. What if he throws 4 interceptions in this game, the next game? All right, like if we're talking crazy hypotheticals, anything's possible.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who should have built up enough equity to see his way through a tough stretch here. And it's not like his career's been perfect. We know that there have been ups and downs. The peaks have been really high. And yeah, he deserves every chance in the world to work his way out of it.
Yeah. I don't even think if that happened, he would get benched. If he threw 4 picks Sunday, 4 against Washington, I don't know, maybe, but I just don't see it. I don't see Nick doing that. And I'm a big, as I know you are, Tanner McKee fan, but I think he'll respond well. I think he'll play well. I kind of feel like when we do a pod at whatever 6:00 on Sunday,
a pod at like a normal hour after a game is going to be nice.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I think we'll be saying how Jalen bounced back, and maybe they didn't win by as many points as we thought, but they won comfortably and they figured some things out. I mean, it's a perfect time for a 2-win team to come into town, and get right game. And then there's a couple more of those on the horizon. They just got to take advantage of the opportunities, and they'll be in the playoffs. I mean, if they beat Washington twice and the Raiders, they win a division.
Yeah,
whatever Dallas does.
Yeah, so right now, the magic number in the NFC East is 3, which means they need any combination of 3 wins or Dallas losses. Now, like, is it? I don't know. They're going 3-1. I think there's a real chance they split with Washington the way they're playing right now. Just because division games are weird, you play a team twice in a short span like that, weird things can happen. And then, the Buffalo game is a really tough one. So
Yeah.
it's possible they're 2-2, and then you would need a Cowboys loss.
Yeah, they could lose to the Vikings. I think that's Sunday night. Is that a Sunday night game?
It is.
Yeah,
They have Vikings and Chargers at home, and then Commanders on the road, Giants on the road. So if they are able to get through these next two games, pressure's on.
yeah. It's crazy how Washington kind of fits into both.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles will take care of business. I mean, they have to beat 3 backup quarterbacks essentially, and if they do that, they win the division.
Yeah, the funny thing is,
former Eagles backup,
and we'll get into matchups later, but the way Geno Smith was playing, I'm not sure Kenny Pickett's a downgrade.
I agree.
Yeah, so it's like he's a backup in name, but it's hard to imagine Pickett playing much worse than Geno has played this year.
I agree. I also think if you can't beat Kenny Pickett and Marcus Mariota twice, you don't belong in the playoffs.
It's fair. Yeah. Eagles, by the way, 11.5-point favorites in this game.
There were 12-point favorites in that Arizona game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of parallels.
There are. There certainly are. And it's tough to avoid, but 11.5 points after a 3-game losing streak, it kind of tells you how bad the Raiders have been.
Yeah, they just don't score any points. And it never should have come to this where you have to play scoreboard in week 16, week 15, but
no, they might not have to. Like if they just take care of business, they're in.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be this tense. We tried to call the division a month and a half ago, and it should have been called.
Yeah, it should have. I give Dallas credit for kind of discovering some things and getting some things figured out. It's a really good offense, but yeah.
It is kind of funny. You have the two teams in the division. One team has a great defense and a bad offense. The other has a great offense and a bad defense.
Yeah. I mean, just to think when it was 21-0, I mean, I thought they could have clinched that. If they finished that game off, they could have clinched the next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. They could have had this thing wrapped up 2 weeks ago. 21-0. And they blew it. And I think if they don't get in, if they end up losing to the Bills, losing to one of the Washington games, and Dallas wins out, you look back to that 21-0 game.
Sure.
That's where it kind of all turned.
Injuries this week.
Yeah.
They started the week a walkthrough on Wednesday, so not an actual practice. So the way this works, and we've talked about it before, is the injury report is an estimation based on if these guys were actually practicing, would they participate? The non-participants on the list were Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson. So I think there was some hope that Lane would be back this week, and it made sense because they didn't put him on IR. He's missed 3 games, so the hope was clearly that he will be back for this game. We'll see. Not a good sign when you don't start the week as a listed participant.
Yeah. Thought maybe he would be out there limited. Still a chance he could practice on, and it could have been the plan all along. Let's just give him an extra day off. It's only a walkthrough anyway. He could be out there. And then let's, have him practice on Thursday. So we'll see. Well, they don't practice for another 10 hours, but we'll see eventually tonight. I still think there's a shot, but look, we know what their record is with him or without him. And we know that the Raiders have they don't have a lot, but they have a pretty darn good pass rusher.
They do, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Jalen Carter looks like he's going to miss his second week. The hope for him is really to get back at some point late in the season and then hopefully for a playoff run. It would help if they get him back, but I don't expect that this week.
Yeah, I don't either. I love what they have at that position and how those guys responded without him playing. I mean, those interior linemen were great on Monday night. When he's back, we were talking to Jordan Davis, and he started screaming about Byron Young's coming out party and everything. I'm still not sure if he should be getting in the 30s in snaps, but yeah, you can't argue with 1.5 sacks.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do when you don't have Jalen Carter.
He's a pretty good fourth interior lineman if you need him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. So we'll see what happens with Jalen Carter. I'm expecting this week. We'll see with Lane. Landon Dickerson limited with that calf injury. He left the game in LA, was able to come back at the end. It's just, this is what Landon is going to be, at least for the rest of this season, is just injuries. They pop up. He's got to play through them, and he's not as effective with them. But I've heard people suggest, say, sit him for a few weeks. It's tough to do that if he's physically able to play. He's still the better option, but
Yeah.
I get the idea behind it. I just don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah, and it sounds good, but like if the calf is healthy enough for him to play, then he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
I should mention that Brett Toth has been really solid when he's had to play, wherever he's had to play. He's been all over the place.
He's played left guard and center.
Yeah. Well, it's all over the place. But he's been really solid, and that I didn't have that on my bingo card.
Yeah, when we came into the season, if I were to tell you Brett Toth has played, how many snaps is it? I want to look it up, because if I were to tell you
300
that he's played, let's see, 293, pretty close, 293 offensive snaps this year, you'd go, oh, that's probably not good. But he's been solid. It's to the point where he comes in, you go, oh, Brett Toth's in.
I could win a Pulitzer, and Dave would be more impressed by me being close to Brett Toth's snap count.
Yeah, awards don't do anything for me. You ever been an award guy?
I was at first, and when I started out, I was totally into awards, and then I realized they were affecting the way I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was writing like for judges, and I hate that. And other people, there's people that do that, and they always win awards. And I decided, this is not what I'm in it for. And I stopped entering everything.
Yeah. You're in it for the paycheck, obviously.
I won a APSE first place, and I was how in Bull Durham.
What is that?
Associated Press Sports Editors. It's like a national contest, and I wrote a story about. It was a runner who had anorexia, and I wrote a story about. She told me her whole story. It was like a big, like 3-part series, and I was really proud of it. But then, like after that, that scene in Bull Durham where he says, "I got my dinger and hung him up."
Mm-hmm.
That was my dinger, and I hung him up. I never entered another contest after that.
There you go.
And it was definitely a freeing thing. It's like, because there's a certain type of story that judges want to see, and I didn't want to feel like, because you don't get really judged on how you write. It's really on the topic. It's like, there's a certain,
you're saying it's a little formulaic?
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. How about you? Were you a big contest guy?
Nah.
Not even when you started?
Nah, I don't care.
Because it's like, it's good to have on a resume when you're starting out.
Yeah. I was in a position where I didn't really need it, I guess. But
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That wasn't supposed to be a brag.
Well, Jeff Offord and I, our old friend, the late great Jeff Offord, we always had a lot of fun at the banquets. So that made it worth it.
I get that. All right, I want to take a break. When we come back, we will go through Eagles Raiders matchups. We have a bunch of questions, and then I will try to pin you down for a prediction.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
Need some holiday gift inspiration? Escape the cold and catch the Phillies in Clearwater with NBC Sports Philadelphia and Philly Sports Trips. We're teaming up to bring fans the most unforgettable Philly spring training experience yet. This trip includes game tickets, beachfront accommodations, round-trip travel, all-inclusive tailgates, and more. Plus appearances from Larry Boa, Charlie Manuel, and NBC Sports Philadelphia's own Ben Davis. Book your trip today at phillysportstrips.com.
I wonder if we should go down and do a podcast from Frenchie's or something.
Might be a tough sell for the bosses that we're going down the Philly spring training.
I think we need to be down there. I think really, because that'll be like right after free agency, probably late March. We might need
Find someone who's training down there in Tampa. think Isaiah Rogers still lives down there.
He does. Well, so Darius Smith lives in Orlando. It's not far.
Yeah, he told you to stop by, didn't he?
He did. He did. See his gym. But I think we need that kind of sunshine and fresh air and, to really analyze free agency the way we need
I'll tell
to.
you, I was not in LA for very long. There was a point where I just stood outside on the sidewalk for I went down to the beach and just sat on a bench and drank a coffee and just sat there.
Yeah.
It was, it's funny. Like you don't realize how much you miss sunshine and warm weather until you don't have it for a little while.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, let's get into your questions. Eagle-eyed NBCUni.com. The QR code is on the screen. You can send us questions that way. As always, we get a ton of them, so we appreciate all those. We can't get to all of them, but promise you we're reading them. We appreciate it. Let's go to Trevor first. Gentlemen, I know Rube loves stats, so here are some numbers for you. Now, we sent this last week, so they're a little outdated, but I appreciate the effort here. Your total pods in 2025 is 147. Your longest stream was the NFC Championship week, totaling 82:38.
Wow.
Your total minutes altogether came to 8,464.51.
8,400.
64.
And it was 147 podcasts. So they averaged 57 minutes and 33 seconds.
All that equals total days streamed 5.878, total hours streamed 141.075. Hope this email finds its way to the pod. Go Birds and happy holidays.
Good. That's good stats.
Yeah, I appreciate him putting that legwork in there. That's pretty good.
I'd like to see the all-time stats too.
Trevor, don't.
Don't worry about Trevor.
Yeah, please
don't.
Yeah, that would take too long. That's kind of crazy, though, when you think we've spent, by the end of the year, we'll have spent almost 6 days talking to each other on this podcast.
No wonder we hate each other.
That's a ton of time. That's insane, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
6 days.
I can't believe we did an 82-minute after the NFC Championship game. That's really long.
That is really long.
It was a lot to talk about.
There was a lot to talk about. Yeah. I can't get over the days. Almost 6 days. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. We shoot for 10 days next year.
Sounds like a lot. All right. Next one. Thank you for that, Trevor. That's cool. Next one is from Dave. Dave and Rube, love the pod. Hate this season to the point where it's making me wonder if caring about football is a mistake. Beyond the birds, do you ever get the feeling that the NFL is just absurdly random right now? At this point in the season, I have no idea which teams are good, if any team can overcome the relatively small number of penalties and turnovers that decide games, or whether a team will be okay year to year given the constant change in injuries, personnel, and management. Reassure me if you can.
Yeah, it's interesting, and that's why I think it's so rare to have teams like the Chiefs that, would they reach 7 straight AFC Championship games? And I mean, even the Eagles, this will be, if they get into the playoffs, it'll be 5 straight years. I mean, they're on quite a run. Those teams are in the minority, and I think every year in the NFL, there's teams that go from 3 wins to 12 wins, and the other way around. You look at Washington; it's. I think it makes the NFL really fun. It's really unpredictable. And, if we looked at our predictions from before the season,
Let's not do that.
Well, we will eventually, but, yeah, I think it kind of makes it fun, that randomness. I don't even know if it's randomness, but I just think 2 injuries and 2 bad calls, and 2 drop touchdowns can turn a 13-win season into a 5-win season.
Yeah, it's such an inexact science for all those factors.
Yeah.
Right? And injuries are, to me, the toughest of the bunch because teams do everything they can, and maybe they're not always doing as good as they can, but they're trying. No one's trying to get hurt.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have some crushing injuries throughout the league that change everything.
Yeah.
Especially to the quarterback position, right? You lose a quarterback, you're bringing a 44-year-old out of retirement, trying to save your season. It's not a good spot to be. The first part of it, though, I feel this to the point where it's making me wonder if caring about football is a mistake. I think it's good to be invested in something, but I also think perspective's good too, right? I don't want to lecture fans on how to feel, but sometimes it's good to maybe take a step back and be like, okay, if you're an Eagles fan, you should be frustrated. You should be upset because this is a wide open season. The Eagles are talented enough to win another Super Bowl, and that's rare to do. You'll want to see that. But you look around the league and like, man, some teams stink and there's no hope. At least this team is like, they're competitive. They just won a Super Bowl. They have competent people in charge, at least at some levels of the organization. Like it's not, it's at least not all doom and gloom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
I mean, they're going to be good next year. They're going to be good the year after next year.
You think. You never know, but like they're in a good position.
Yeah.
Okay. From Jeff. Hey guys, I got a question coming to you all the way from the country of Kazakhstan.
Ooh.
I'm an Eagles fan living here on the other side of the world. My question is, and we've gotten this one a ton, so I'm glad to address it. If you have ever watched Tyler Steen slap Cam Jurgens right before the snap, if we were having O-line issues, even I can see there's no cadence or attempt to get the D-line off balance. Every time Tyler Steen looks back, then slaps Cam Jurgens, the ball is snapped. Doesn't this give the D-line an advantage? Why is this happening on every single play? Well, that's their silent count. They do this on the road. Sometimes they have to do it at home when the fans are a little irritated. That's just what it is. Like the Eagles decided a long time ago that the right guard is going to be the guy they use for silent count to signal the snap. They don't always go on one. Like sometimes, they'll go on two, or they can have hard counts in a way, sort of, on their silent count. But I think where they get into the issues are when they let the play clock wind all the way down,
Yeah.
and then defenses get to basically just time it out because they know the play clock is about to expire.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know if anyone keeps stats on how much time on the average is left on the play clock when they snap the ball.
They do, and the Eagles are, very low or high on that list depending on how you put it. But yeah, they don't have much time when the ball gets snapped.
And I think that's a problem.
It's something that came up a bunch early in the season because the plays were like coming in late, they're getting to the line late, and it makes it tough. And it's an absolute advantage for defensive linemen when they don't have to hesitate. Like if it's play clock's at 1, they get to go.
Yep.
Patrick. I was listening to the episode that dropped this morning and finally decided to send an email. I wanted to share a few thoughts on Jalen, the offense, and the offensive coordinator situation. This isn't to excuse the miscues or bad decisions he's made recently. He hasn't looked good the last few games, but I think a major factor in the offensive dysfunction is the disconnect between Jalen and Kevin. We all know Jalen's weaknesses, but it feels like we have an offensive coordinator who doesn't fully understand them, and that's made worse by his inability to string together cohesive play calls. For this offense to succeed, we need a play caller who truly understands Jalen. I don't think we have that right now. It also doesn't help that our offensive coordinator isn't equipped to counter the weaknesses in our head coach. This isn't about blaming Kevin. Maybe he'll be great one day, but he wasn't ready for this role. That falls on Nick and Howie for putting him in that position. It's the same issues we saw with Brian Johnson.
I think it's a lot worse than Brian Johnson, but I think it's a great point. And I don't know where I was talking about it, but on some show or something, I really feel like there's a disconnect between Jalen and Kevin Patullo that's really holding the offense back. I just don't think he's comfortable. I think he's alluded to that in interviews without coming out and really saying it, but he's kind of hinted at it. And I just think it's limiting what he can do. I think when you have a quarterback that's not comfortable with the play caller and the plays, it's really hard to excel. And I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm a little surprised by it, honestly, because this is a guy who's been in the building for the last 4 years.
But not calling plays.
Not calling plays, but you would think a guy who's been around football that long, who knows the system, knows the quarterback, has seen the quarterback have success and failure, would have a better sense of how to get the most out of him.
And his best friends with the head coach's dog, apparently.
I don't know what that.
The dog wouldn't leave his feet.
Yeah, I don't know what that has to do with getting those out of Jalen.
No, it doesn't anything.
Okay.
But I think it goes back to and we talked about this a while ago. Like, there's really no way to know if someone's going to be a good play caller.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Nick and Howie, I think they kind of were banking on that familiarity that Kevin had from being here since 21, and it just hasn't transformed into good play calling. You know, Kellen Moore had no connection with this staff or this quarterback, and he came in, and after a slow start for like the first 6 or 7 weeks, I thought he was a very good play caller, and he and Jalen obviously clicked.
I wonder if there's a benefit to that.
Maybe.
Like coming in with fresh eyes, just evaluating what you see I'm sure he watched a lot of tape of Jalen like in previous years, but maybe like living through it is different. Maybe it just like warps your sense of reality. Whereas like Kellen came in with fresh eyes and a different perspective, and maybe there's something to that idea. I don't know.
If you were picking a play caller, what's the first thing you would want that person, that coach to have to give you confidence to be able to call plays? Like, cause I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I think that's tough to glean from like an interview session. Like you could maybe throw situations at him and say, "Hey, it's 3rd and 10. It's 3rd and 10 from your own 45-yard line. There's 2.5 minutes left in the first half. You have 2 timeouts. What are you calling?" And if he says "coward's draw," you kick him out of the building.
Yeah, but you probably wouldn't say that in an interview because you would know that that's not what they want to hear. Yeah, I don't know because it's I don't see any rhyme or reason to who's good at it and who's not good at it, like based on what we knew about them before they became a play caller. Like I never would have guessed Doug would be brilliant at it in 17, but he was.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know. It's an interesting thing. And I think we're going to go through it again in the next few months.
Yeah, I don't anything short of like an NFC Championship game run. There's no way they can run it back, right?
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, and if
like for a while, I think there was the thought when it wasn't like super, super bad, there's probably some benefit in continuity.
Yeah.
And like if they're an average offense, the continuity is probably worth it to keep him.
Right.
Because Jalen's like been yearning for some kind of continuity there. But
and they were average for like the first month.
Yeah. And if it stayed like that, and even if they don't get very far, I think they probably would have said, you know what? Let's let this thing grow and let's at least have 2 years. But obviously now that's out the window.
And if he's back, Shady's resigning from the Eagles Hall of Fame.
Which I don't think you can actually do.
He said nobody's ever tried.
That's true, but it's not his decision. Yeah, if you didn't hear that, he said it on his show, I guess, that it's either him or Kevin.
It's me or Kevin. If he's back, I'm gone. I'm not in the Hall of Fame anymore.
I thought it would be very funny if the Eagles like signed some whatever practice squad running back and gave him 25.
Wouldn't shock me.
Next one is from Yaniv. Hey guys, love the pod. Never miss an episode, so thank you for all that you do. I was always curious to know if you would still be doing what you do as reporters if you won the Powerball or the Mega Millions, or maybe fell into some inheritance money from a long distant relative you never knew about, which allowed you to never worry about working again. Maybe you would fly on a private plane to games. When hearing Dave stress to make the red eyes or having some annoying situation from a middle seat on economy, I always wondered what you would be. Oh gosh, I can't read. Always wonder what you would do working with your newfound fortune.
Interesting question. I would probably keep doing this just to drive Dave crazy and do podcasts and talk about track and Guided by Voices and all the other stuff that drives you nuts. I don't know.
It's funny because like it obviously depends how much money too. Like we're talking.
Is there an amount there?
No amount.
Let's say 5 million.
5 million. I'm not quitting my job for 5 million.
No, I mean, you invest that, you're in good shape.
Yeah, no, like I mean, I'm talking like, you win the Mega Millions and it's up to 500 million, then, but I don't know. I think I would get bored after a little while. I'm a big traveler, so I'd love to travel more, but I don't know. I think I'd want more purpose than that. And we have a fun job.
Yeah. The only thing for me is how would that money get me out of commuting up and down 95 every day?
Helicopter in?
Is there a place to land here? I mean,
build a helipad on top of the Xfinity Mobile Arena. Look at me, company man, nailing the name.
I mean, we have a big parking lot. The only thing is, like, if there's like, Dragon Tales Live or Disney on Ice or something, the parking lot might be too crowded to land a chopper. But
You ever play the lottery?
never,
Never?
not once.
Can't win if you don't play.
You can't lose if you don't play.
It's true.
I would still do something. Yeah.
Even when, like, say you're in the office and someone walks around like, hey, collecting money for the Powerball, you don't chip in?
Nobody's ever asked me.
Never any job?
Nobody talks to me.
That's
I
fair.
really don't like me.
That's true.
No, I've never.
Whenever someone does that, I always pitch in because the thought of them winning and me not winning is too much for me to bear.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I've never.
I'm more playing defense at that point. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
I also, me and my friends, it's like a fun, we pitch in every once in a while and we have a rotation. Like, hey, it's your week to go buy the tickets.
You know what else? I've never placed a sports bet in my life.
I don't bet on like regular sports. I've gone to like a horse track. Does that count?
I did that with guys from our old newspaper. They used to go to Garden State Park when it was open.
Yeah. Once in Florida, I went to a dog track. Didn't love that.
Oh, really?
That felt weird. Where?
No, I said really.
Yeah. It was like the last year for it.
Yeah.
And we went because it was like a cheap day out, It was like a nice day. It was cheap. It was like, dollar beers, dollar hot dogs. You go there and you're like, I don't love this.
Yeah.
I like dogs too much.
You ever go to High Lie when you're in Florida?
I don't know if I know what that is.
High Lie?
Yeah.
A fronton? It's a sport where
You're just saying words that mean nothing to me.
well, it's also a beer from Tampa, that High Lie. But no, it's a sport where
Is that the thing with like the weird curved thing?
yeah, you're in this like box that kind of looks like a larger racquetball court, and I don't even know the rules or anything. I don't know if anyone does, but
Okay.
it's unique to Florida. I think it's still down there.
First time I played racquetball, I ran into the back of the wall so hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love playing racquetball in college.
I got a little overzealous.
I love playing racquetball in college. Here's a little trivia. Our racquetball court, you know who Muddy Waters is, the great blues musician, Last Waltz and all that. Our racquetball court was his dressing room when he played at my college.
Okay.
That's all. But I got
really
to hang out with Muddy Waters that night, and interesting guy. I have a great Muddy Waters story. Probably don't have time for it, but maybe during the off season.
You ever see Reuben ask him for his Muddy Waters?
Yeah, I'm going to tell that story on the pod. It's a great story, and has to do with James Cotton Blues Band, and Muddy Waters, and we'll get to that. Like maybe one of our weird like podcasts where we don't talk about football.
All of them, you mean? All right. Next one from Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Dave and Reuben. Why doesn't Nick just say we have 3 or 4 play callers, give them each a sheet and a headset? Now you have created unknowns for the defense. Each person would have different tendencies and make it difficult to know what to expect. You could rotate during the game or whatever. Build a competitive advantage. What do you think? Some red herrings out there.
Yeah, when you bring up the words competitive advantage, Nick will listen. You have 3 guys lined up. They're each on a headset. They each have a play card. I don't think the other team would care where the call's coming from, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's not like, maybe like the next week when you're trying to find tendencies in a play caller, because that is a thing, but it's kind of a minor part of the deal. Like the team is going to run out the plays they run out.
Yeah. And I think it's hard, if you're a play caller, in theory, at least you want to use plays to set up other plays. So if you don't know what the next guy is going to call, it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah. But
I like the creativity.
We have seen teams at times like hand over situations to a different play caller. Like you're now calling the 2-minute offense or the 4-minute offense or this situation or that situation. So not completely unheard of.
And Big Red would he would give Marty, if it wasn't going well, he'd just say, Marty, you call the plays, which I appreciate. If something's not working, just have somebody else. Like Andy was good at it for a while, but then he was bad
Sometimes you need
at
a fresh approach.
Yeah. Marty. Maybe they can bring back Marty.
Wise old owl is what Jalen called him.
He did.
Jalen liked Marty.
He did. Yeah, maybe that
was always weird when they brought in Marty as a consultant. It felt like worlds colliding, didn't it?
It did.
It was like, these are 2 different eras of Eagles football.
Yeah.
Next one from Arturo. Hope I'm not the only one with this take, but I've not seen any other outlet speaking on this. Yeah, we lost bad to the Chargers and Jalen Hurts had a bad game and a few others in the last weeks, yet I finally saw we moved the ball offensively. We outgained the Chargers in yards, Barkley had decent runs besides the touchdown, and I thought to myself, this could be a turning the corner point offensively. I realized we did not score touchdowns after getting in the Chargers territory several times. And
seven times.
And it seems we forgot Barkley was running well, just like against the Bears, but I feel like we were trending in a good place with the Commanders and Raiders coming up. We might be able to get ourselves right. Yes, on the flip side, we can lose all these upcoming games, but feeling good even after the loss with 5 turnovers. Thanks for the pod all the way from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Arturo, I think it's a great point. And the problem is, like, we saw all those things. We saw they had 360 some odd yards, maybe
365.
They moved the ball. They look really good at times, but I just don't have the confidence that that's going to translate into, okay, we can move the ball next week.
Mm-hmm.
And with the good, because that's been this year, like, all right, they ran the ball great against the Giants, but a week later they didn't. They haven't been able to sustain anything. They protected really well in this game. The next game they gave up 4 sacks. So we just haven't seen that thread of consistency that, like, you would hope that what they did offensively and the way they moved the ball would translate to next week, but we just haven't seen that this year. So that's my concern.
I can tell you, Arturo, too, that like people in the building are feeling some of that positivity too.
Yeah.
I think they're treading lightly talking about it because it looks like you're kind of making excuses and it looks like you're taking solace in like moral victories, and that's always a bad look.
Right.
But as they're trying to figure this out, I think there is some excitement, or at least or some encouragement about what they were able to do offensively. And I don't think that's off base. Now we're getting ahead of ourselves if we expect it to just turn around completely. But so I rewatched last night, and I thought a lot of the same things. Like, okay, there's actually stuff to build on. After the game, I think I was a little more doom and gloom. Like, their one play was a trick play off of a tush push, but it was more than that. Like, in hindsight, there were some concepts that I think are potential building blocks. Now they have to do it. I don't know where I am confidence level on that part of it getting done. Yeah.
And I think Nick talked about that on, I guess Wednesday was the first time we talked to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday morning. He did talk about, like, yeah, we did some good things on offense. We moved the ball and we feel good about that. So my confidence level that they can keep doing it is not super high, but it's there. And you know, when you see a team do something once or twice or 3 times, it's possible to keep doing it, but I don't know.
Neither do I. From Tom. Hey guys, once again, thanks for the articles, pods, and updates on TV. A couple of things that have been piquing my interest. I know Howie says he won't do contract extensions during the season, but isn't it strange that they haven't signed Reed? I can't imagine anyone in the locker room would be upset with that.
Yeah, and it's a weird deal, and my only guess is that they're just so far off on the money that it hasn't made sense.
But I also think, like, Howie really has drawn this line in the last few years. He will not extend anybody.
Yeah, but I mean, it could have been during the offseason too.
Sure.
Yeah. Once the season started, then you'd be surprised if anybody does sign.
Which I don't think is like. I agree.
Risky.
I agree with Tom's point. Like, some guys are like if they would have paid Zach Bond during last year, would anyone really have been upset about that?
Yeah.
So I think, like, and I understand Howie's point would be, well, you start making exceptions, everyone's going to want you to make an exception for them. And I guess that's true, but you're also allowed to make the rules. You set the precedent, you set the rules, you can change them if you want.
Maybe starting safeties next year will be Makuba and Marcus Epps.
It's not crazy.
Yeah.
Makuba's going to be here. I think he's going to be a starter next year no matter what. I think Reed is like, he hasn't played great this year, but I think he's actually been steadier in the second half of the season.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was shaky at times early in the year, but he's really brought like a stability to the back end of the defense.
I would agree with that.
And the second question from Tom, did either of you imagine being on TV at some point in your careers?
No.
Never?
No. I mean, I worked for a newspaper covering track. Like, who's going to put me on TV? Like, welcome back to the NBC South Jersey Track Show starring Reuben Frank.
Yeah.
No, never occurred to me.
I guess I did just because I worked here at a young age.
Yeah.
And I was exposed to it earlier in my career than you were.
Well, I did used to do the, so like Channel 29 used to have like the Eagles Roundtable, hosted by, gosh, who was it? Carl Churkin. And we would go on and there would be like three of us and it was like a 7-minute segment that was on like every Friday. We went down to their studio on like 3rd and Market and would record it like during the week. And so that was the first time I did that, and it was fun, and I enjoyed that. Shredder was the producer, actually, Tom Shredenshek, and so that was the first time I ever did it. But no, not something I ever thought about. But really, to even have a job these days, you have to be able to do everything. You have to be able to do podcasts and write and do TV, and
it's fun challenges though. It's like different things.
Yeah,
that's the fun part of this job to me. Is like there's always something new to try to figure out.
That's certainly true.
Yeah. Next one, we'll finish actually here with Matt. Dear David and Rube, when Lane Johnson is healthy again, do you think Fred Johnson could play guard? It could give the Eagles a large presence on the interior again, as it did with Mekhi Becton. Also, I'd love to know Rube's favorite Warren Zevon song. Mine is Desperados Under the Eaves.
So Fred hated playing guard, and he says he wasn't very good at it with the Bengals.
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
I am shocked that I finished with a music question and you went back to the football element of this.
Oh, well, I think I remember we asked Fred, like, what went wrong in Cincinnati. He's like, they put me a guard. Like, he was like, I am not a guard. Maybe after all these years and playing for Stout, maybe he'd be better, but he doesn't believe he can do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it might be a losing battle is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the guy to believe he can do it.
Favorite Warren Zevon.
By the way, they did, I love the wrinkle on that tush-push look. They snuck Fred to the left side, so they had kind of a tackle-over situation. Now, they don't run a lot of tackle-over anymore, but it's something that's fun. And even without the structure of that specific play, it's something I wouldn't mind seeing them do more.
Yeah, it's fair.
They did it like kind of stealthily because they ran to the line and they broke the little huddle, and Fred just happened to be on that side. So I think it might have confused the line a little bit too.
Interesting. I'll have to watch that again. It's fun play.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Warren Zevon song is probably "Rollin' the Headless Thompson Gunner."
Okay.
Yeah. You have one? You a Zevon guy?
Not really. Yeah. But I figured you would have
I
one.
would do a whole show where people just ask me my favorite song by a certain artist.
Okay. I'm sick that day.
Yeah.
If you have a question for us.
If you're not sick before the pod, you will be when it's over.
Eagle-eye at NBCUni.com, QR code on the screen. We'll wrap this up in a minute, but where are you leaning with this game? It's 11.5-point favorites. Eagles at home against a 2-win Raiders team.
Yeah, and as tempted as I was to pick the Raiders, and I know you were encouraging me to do that.
I was really trying to talk you into it all week.
I'm going to pick the Eagles. I think they're going to find a way. I really like where the defense is at right now. And I do think Kenny Pickett's going to give that offense a little boost, but I just don't think he's good enough to put up enough points to win this game. So I'm going to go Eagles. I think it'll be low scoring, played in the teens, and Eagles get a win that they desperately need.
Yeah. We were going to go through matchups today. I didn't want to bore everyone with this. I think a lot of this comes down to that offense just isn't very good. We'll see what Pickett does. They've given up 50 sacks this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that's a little bit better without a quarterback who's like trying to extend. Maybe Pickett just gets the ball out quicker. But I think the Eagles have an advantage going against that offense. And then the Raiders defensively are like, They have Max Crosby. They have Devin White starting at linebacker.
Yeah.
Who's actually, I guess the numbers are okay. I don't think he's probably playing very well.
They're better on defense than they are on offense, certainly.
But I still think The Eagles have a pretty big advantage of this game. Raiders' run defense is like okay. Kind of a weird thing. They stack the box at an absurdly high rate, 50%, which is like crazy above the second team in the NFL is under 38%. So we're talking like over 12% difference.
Is that the Texans?
The Browns. Yeah. And they're not even that good at stop. They're like a middle of the pack run defense given all that. So
well, that tells you there's gonna be plays to made down the field.
Yeah. And I think they'll be able to run on them too. So
yeah.
I think that's where you have to start with this team. Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Eagles in this one too. Fred Johnson, if he has to play, has a big matchup against Max Crosby, who plays on that side of the line
87% of the time.
Yeah. So that's a tough matchup, but
he's really, really good.
Yeah. And the Eagles, like historically though, that's something they do well is when there's like one star pass rusher, they always seem to have a good plan to keep that guy in check, whether it's Micah Parsons or TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. Yeah. They always seem to have a good plan for those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you can slow him down, and certainly you hope you have Lane out there, but if you don't, you're going to help Fred as much as you can and hope for the best.
All right. So I'm going to pick the Eagles. You're picking the Eagles. We'll have a podcast after the game at a normal hour, which will be lovely for me and you. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, please do us a favor, rate.
Dave will be on a red eye from the link across the street here.
Rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button and subscribe there as well. Rube, any final thoughts?
Well, it'll be nice to have a home game and looking for a great atmosphere down there.
Yeah. And then a short week right after that, a Saturday game.
Yeah.
Weird season with
Not
a lot of
like Sunday games.
Yeah, like they're playing every night of the week, feels like.
No Tuesdays. Keep Joe Webb out of the link.
Reuben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye, presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.